happy Tuesday to all across the Delaware Valley. It's the Anthony Gargano Show presented by Rite Aid, your neighborhood pharmacy. Visit your local Rite Aid today. Stock up on allergy relief or catch up on immunizations for RSV, shingles, and more. Walk in, schedule a vaccine appointment at riteaid.com. Good morning. It is Tuesday, May 14th. And it's interesting, right? Because on this date, 6 years ago, 2018, the Phillies also played the Mets. So let's talk about last night for a second. So you want to talk about a statement. And again, what it is it's a statement on how this team is built, right? They are 29-13 after the pullout, after that win last night, the rally against the Metropolitans. And what it shows you is the fight in this team. You know, it's funny. Last week during the streak, when the streak ended, they rallied, right? They had second and third, one out, tying run on second base. And then I thought that they were going to pull it out. But that's what this team is. Even, you look at Sunday, they're in every game. Rarely do they have that give up 8-1 loss that just about every team in the major leagues have, right? So last night against Edwin Diaz, the Mets closer, who, remember, last year he missed all of last season. He comes back and wow, right? He's dealing. He's averaging 13 and a half strikeouts over 9 innings. And he does not give up a lot of home runs. All right? 3 home runs in 2022 when he came onto the scene. Only allowed 3 bombs. And last night, Stott got him. What a swing. A bomb to get it to 4-3. And then Clemens with a pinch hit. And then it's 2 outs. And Whit Merrifield, who has been struggling, is able to work the walk. And that working the walk allows Bohm to get hit by a pitch. That squeezes home the tying run. They go on to win it. This team is just impressive. They're now 29-13. And let's look at perspective. So perspective is in 2018, Aaron Nola pitched against the Mets. Aaron Nola today will pitch against the Mets 1 o'clock from Citi Field. That lineup in 2018, leading off, Carlos Hernandez. Batting second, Aaron Altair. Batting third, Odubel Herrera. Batting fourth, Rhys Hoskins. Batting fifth, Carlos Santana. Batting sixth, Michael Franco. Batting seventh, Scotty Jetpacks Kingery. Batting eighth, Alfaro. And then batting ninth was Nola, pre-DH, as you know. That was your lineup when the Phillies played the Mets exactly 6 years ago with the same starting pitcher on the bump. They had that lineup. Now look at them, right? 2 years ago, World Series. Last year, another run before the disappointing loss to Arizona. They are 29-13 and just rolling. I always love perspective, right? And the perspective that the Phillies provide over 6 years, becoming a contender, and with the makeup of that team, the constant fight, it tells you something. I'm going to repeat myself all summer long. It's impossible to tell you what's going to happen in October. You can't do that in baseball. Forget injuries, which we all know about, but you're prone to hot bats and hot pitchers, and you never know, right? That's why baseball's so unpredictable, most unpredictable of any of the 4 team sports, right? It just is. But you know how good this team is, and this team's going to be fighting all summer long. They are truly the fighting Phillies. All right, tomorrow night, 8 p.m., the schedule comes out. But, of course, there's been leaks. So this is what's happening. First, let's look at opening weekend. We know that Kansas City's going to play Baltimore to open the season that Thursday. Eagles, Packers from Brazil that Friday. The Brady-Fox game where he makes his debut. So that Sunday, Dallas against the Browns. And then the Monday night game is Aaron Rodgers back against the Niners. We know the opponents. Now, this is interesting because we now know the home and road. We don't know the order. That'll happen tomorrow night. But the home opponents for the Eagles, the division games, Cowboys, Giants, Commanders. Then Browns, Falcons, Panthers, Jaguars, Steelers. Now, it's interesting. The Green Bay game is also, which is in Brazil. The Eagles are a home game, but we know that game's in Brazil. So if you look at outside of the division games, you got Cleveland, tough game, but winnable. They'll be a favorite. Atlanta, all right, rebuilt, should be a favorite. Carolina, same thing. They're gonna roll. Jacksonville, we'll see what happens. Lawrence, but that's another favorite. And Pittsburgh, they'll be a favorite, even though they're rebuilt. So you look at that schedule. That's a pretty good schedule. The road games, and what we love about this are the road trips. So we'll discuss this in further once we know the dates, and we'll plan our trips. But the away schedule is phenomenal. Tampa, so you get to go to Tampa, Clearwater, which is always a blast. The Rams, you get to go to L.A. That's a great game, man. Rams-Eagles, that's awesome. Ravens-Eagles in Baltimore, that's another one. That's a great watch. Bengals, right? You get Joe Burrow and the Birds. Saints, which is one of my favorite cities, New Orleans. So, and then you got your division games, Dallas, Washington, and New York. That's a fun schedule. And we'll know it in order tomorrow night. We'll geek out and the whole thing. So we'll get into that sort of thing. Phillies, Birds on the docket. We'll talk to Renee Washington from our All Phillies, all PHLY Phillies show. And Renee does a lot with women's sports. The WNBA tips off tonight. And Caitlin Clark at Center States. We were having a debate in office about the merits and the popularity of the sport of women's basketball. So we'll discuss that. And it's funny, our operations manager, Vince Pellegrini, he's all WNBA and up. We were discussing the whole thing, debating about how big is it. And there's a lot of groundswell. I know my man JP is all over it. So we'll get into that discussion. Larry Boa will join us. Always love talking to Bo for the big chat at 10 o'clock. We'll talk to Bo about the Phillies and about where they're at and just about this whole summer. So we'll get into that. Looking forward to it. And then I just got chastised. Moments before I got on the air, my wife calls me and she says, Massimo has a concert tonight. I know he has baseball, but we just got chastised and lambasted by Massimo's music teacher because he plays the trumpet. And he's got a concert tonight. And he also has baseball tonight. And so, it's not like he's rushing to go to band every day, right? But he is rushing to go to baseball every day. And, of course, I am the bad guy, right? Because I go, well, I mean, baseball, right? He's probably going to pitch tonight. So, he should be playing his baseball. Look, baseball is going to be more important to him going forward, right? Like when he hopefully plays in high school and the whole thing. So that was my kind of my answer to the whole thing. Like, obviously, if there was no baseball or if it was raining out, we would make him go to the concert. But what am I going to do? I have a tough time doing my own schedule, let alone their schedule, my kids. All right? I was at St. Augustine last night the great high school in deep in South Jersey, and we had because Anthony's going to be going there next year, and there was a football parents meeting, and so I drove 45 minutes, and I'm excited to see all the coaches meet. I love that stuff, right? Like that's the greatest thing in the world. But their schedule is more than mine. Is more complicated, or as much complicated as mine, right? So then of course I'm the bad guy. VG's calling me a Philistine. Right? Like he's going, well, what about the arts? And I go, well, I'm all about the arts. I love the arts. But, the kid's got to play baseball. What can I tell you? I don't know what to say. We'll get into that. Good morning, JP.
I'm just dying over this story, cuz. And it's funny, too, because I related, because growing up, I was like, I love sports. I wanted to play the sports. My parents wanted me to be in the arts, right? I think we had the conversation about like how I had to miss football practice because of CCD and stuff like that.
Yes.
So like listening to you say this, I was like, wow, I wish my dad would have done that. But it's such a funny
I got to take the heat though, dude.
I know.
I'm the one on the grill.
You are the bad guy, unfortunately.
Like the music teacher's not happy.
Oh, no. Yeah.
He spent all summer, all whatever semester practicing. I don't know what to do, but all I know is I make a call.
Because these music teachers do not play around. From experience, they do not play around.
I think they're necessary. I'm a believer in the arts. I mean, I'm a very creative person. 100%. I love art. Now, I'm more of a visual, right, with writing or painting or whatever. But, I mean, music, God bless.
What does the kid want, though?
The kid wants to play baseball. He wants to play baseball.
I think he should play baseball.
I mean, whatever. And then, I'm already getting the gestures out of Violations Greg, who, by the way, runs a music label. I mean, listen. No, he runs a Metallica, right? He runs that kind of.
Yeah, Casper the Ghost says, I'm a huge music guy, but sports reign supreme.
100%. Thanks, Casper. Listen, I'm all for it. I don't know what to do.
No trumpet for Moss.
Play ball. Play ball.
Thank you, Andrew. I don't know what to do. Other than the kid. And then I feel horrible. Like, I said, should I write the music teacher? I'm like, no. I already, she chastised us.
Wow.
God.
Your wife's taking the heat for that. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, listen.
But now, because she's taking the heat means I'm taking the heat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You got to listen to it.
So Anthony has a placement test at St. Augustine tonight. So she's got to take him there for that. And I'm on baseball day because I'm always on baseball day.
Yeah,
I love. So I'm not like I'm complaining. But she's like, well, you could take him to the concert. And I go, wow. I mean, do I want to watch him pitch or do I watch him play the trumpet?
Yeah, come on.
10-year-olds hitting the wrong note all the time. You got to listen to that. Exactly. Come on now.
Right? I hear you, Andrew. I mean, it's what it is. VG, forgive me. I know you as a dog parent have a lot to say. I go to the concert, he said. Go to the concert. All kidding aside, that was Pop It All brought to you by Olipop. Find your favorite Olipop flavors at your nearest Wawa.
Start off with a win, cuz. And Mets week and screw New York week.
Yes, it is F New York week.
I love it. We need this, right?
Yes, because tomorrow Union
NYCFC, the Mets come down Turnpike to play the Phils, so it's gonna be a lot of fun tomorrow. But
home.
Yeah, hopefully today we get another one. But yesterday was big. I mean, like I thought Christopher Sanchez looked solid. I thought he was better as the start went on. And that Stoddard, man, oh my God.
Bears down, isn't he?
Yeah, it's freaking awesome.
I mean, he's got the boa gene. Like the bear down. Looking forward to talking to Larry. But let's discuss this for a second. Because you're the one who got me the lineup from 2018. Mm-hmm. You're like, dude, look at this thing, right?
This is so funny.
And like you're looking at this lineup, and I love perspective. Like I remember being miserable in 2018. People going, oh, Carlos Hernandez is great. No, he's not. He's a horrible leadoff hitter. Struck out way too much, right? It was terrible, right? Altair, who I will never forget, the bro loved Aaron Altair. Oh, he's going to be a stud. I stunk, right? Odubel, oh, God. Watching him play baseball, I'm telling you, the 11-year-olds had way more baseball sense than the Odubel had. Reese, God love him. Santana, Cook, Franco never was. Kingery never was. Remember, you make the investment in him early, and he just flopped. Alfaro, gets traded. And then Nola. I mean, that's perspective, JP.
Yeah. I mean, listen, that's what we always talk about on this show because, this city, it's always the muckers and the grinders and there's your star players, right? And I feel like that's the difference with this team. Like, you have a lot of star power. You have a lot of power in general. And you look at this lineup from 2018, oh, my God, you have to be sitting there praying that finally we have some star players here. You mentioned some Odubel Herrera. Oh, my God. And listen, you know me. I love Jorge Alfaro. Like, listen, Colombian connection. But we definitely did well in that JT Real Muto trade. I mean, has anyone seen Sixto Sanchez these days? My man's ready for the beer league, okay? So it's been a lot of fun just seeing how this team has evolved. And, we don't give a lot of credit to Dumbo, but he's done a really good job of building this roster. It's pretty much surrounding around Bryce Harper. I remember was it 2021? We get eliminated by the Braves again at the end of the season, and Bryce went up to the closing press conference, the exit press conference, talking about how we need young stud players. And Dumbo filled it out. You look at the daycare, how big they said.
Dumbo. You're all about Dombrowski.
He's
the big. Dude goes around, and people go, "Wow, it's easy when you have." John Middleton's money, but listen, you can make a mistake. We've seen expensive mistakes.
Jake Arrieta.
All right? We've seen a lot of and he has built it correctly. I think you're right. I mean, he's built it correctly. They, if you go back to the Clensack days and how bad that organization was and how it was analytics over baseball, right? And now you have the perfect blend. Like, they were a team that was never analytically sound, right? And then they went, and it's a lesson for life, right? When the pendulum goes too far the other way, it doesn't work. Like the middle is where we should all live our lives because it's the most sensical. The middle, right? Right? Some analytics, baseball, right? They marry. The game's always been about trends and analytics and deep-rooted in that sense. But you can't lose sight of the baseball, of the tactician, think about it, right? Of the skill sets.
Yeah.
So, I think they did. For a while, they lost their way, and Dombrowski kind of pushed them back towards center.
But even just like the feel of the game, especially when you're talking about playoffs, because sometimes maybe the analytics may tell you to take the pitcher out. But in the playoffs, in that moment, the pitcher will feed into that moment. And so I agree with you. You're spot on. I think you have to have that healthy medium. You need to obviously implement some of the analytics, but also you have to understand these are human beings. You never know what's going to happen on a day-to-day basis. And I think that's important. I've had this conversation with Jim Curran of the Union because they're very big on the analytics too, but he also understands too the feel of the game, when to sub the player in or out. So I think it's important. You have to have that health. It's just like anything in life. You have to have a healthy medium.
Yep. No, all right, that's great. So we got lots to get to.
Get to. I'm looking forward to
Nate's going to join us.
Look for your WNBA talk with Nate.
Yeah, so I want you to jump in during this conversation because yesterday our man Vince Pellegrini, Vinny was all WNBA'd up.
He's beating the chest on it.
He was. And listen, I'm open to anything. I love basketball, the whole thing. But I'm not going to front. It's not my first and foremost. I love watching the NBA playoffs, right? It is what it is. So we were kind of talking about it, and he was making the argument how it was bigger than the women's tournament was bigger than the men's tournament, and blah blah blah, and the whole thing. And it was an interesting conversation because you're looking forward to it.
Yeah, I do like the product. For myself, I listen. I don't care the gender. I don't care the age. I love basketball. I love soccer. Those are the two sports that I wish were here in Philadelphia. And to be honest with you, because the main reason why I don't watch the WNBA and the NWSL is because we don't have teams here in Philadelphia. It's hard for me to watch a league and just watch Indiana or watch New York. I need that rooting interest. I'm just such a local kid. I need that Philadelphia flair into it. So that's why I personally don't watch it as much as I should. But I do think that it's a good product. I think it's getting better. I think, too, with the
time is tough. The time for a sports fan, and that's my biggest problem. I can get into anything. I told you, the soccer piece of it is great. I just don't have the time.
I hear you.
To dive into. I would Like if I'm home, I have a window sometimes between 3 and 5. And sometimes I use that to decompress, and I'll see a Serie A game.
There you go.
So I'll watch Napoli.
There you go.
And I'll be into it, right? Like that, or at a Premier League game at 3, because it just happens to fit the schedule. But it's hard because it's hard to fit everything in, right? Like I'm a front runner with golf. I love golf, but I like the majors. So I'll focus in during the majors weekend, and then I'm not in on every tournament.
That's why I like this, like the positives of the internet technology. Like one thing I'll do, because I don't have time for soccer, and I love soccer. So the highlights on YouTube are so big.
I know, but
catching up on all that.
But to me, if I want to do highlights, I have to be invested.
I see what you're saying.
It's like
for you to be fully on the product.
I wish I had the time to consume all this stuff.
Yeah.
Like F1. I have a lot of interest in F1, but I just not enough time.
I hear you.
Right?
I hear
Like
you.
time. I wish I could, read, a novel a week. I always got the time.
I hear you.
Time.
That's
So
why I have great
precious.
people like Renee to tell us what's going to happen.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
We all silly like the mayor.